Today we are discussing NCERT Science Class 10 Chapter 6 Life Process. First portion all we are discussing in the class. Now we are going to discuss about transportation. Blood transport food, oxygen and waste materials in our body. Okay. So blood consisting of a fluid is there. It is called a plasma. So this plasma transport food, carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste in the dissolved form. So oxygen is carried by red blood cells, means RBC. Okay, who is carrying that oxygen? Oxygen is carried out by the red blood cells. So we need a pumping organ to push blood around the body. That pumping organ is our heart. Now we can discuss about heart. So this is the cross-sectional view of the human heart. Human heart having 4 chambers, which are the right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. So these chambers will helping that prevent the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Now we can discuss the flow of blood through the heart. The oxygen rich blood from the lungs to left atrium through pulmonary vein. When the left atrium is contracting, this blood is going to left ventricle. What is the difference between the wall of left atrium and left ventricle? Left atrium is thin walled, okay. Left ventricle is thick walled. When the left ventricle is contracting, this blood is going to different parts of the body through aorta. Now all the body parts getting oxygen. Now we want to take out the carbon dioxide from the different parts of the body, and this carbon dioxide is reaching to right atrium through vena cava. When the right atrium contracts, this carbon dioxide rich blood is going to right ventricle. When the right ventricle is contracting, this carbon dioxide rich blood is going to lungs through pulmonary artery. Before we are saying there is a separation in between right side and left side of the heart, that is called a septum. So what is the use of septum? Means a septum will prevent the mixing of blood, oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Amphibians and reptiles having 3-chambered heart, while the fishes having 2-chambered heart. Then how many chambers having the human heart? 4 chambers, no? Right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. So these fishes and all, they have 2 chambers only. So only one time only this blood is going through that heart, while human beings having 2 times entering blood through the heart. That is called a double circulation. Arteries are the vessels which carry blood away from the heart to various organs of the body. Okay, this artery is only taking blood from the heart to outside the body. So that wall of the artery is very thick and elastic. Why? Because the blood emerges from the heart under high pressure. That's why. So then next one is vein. Vein is collect the blood from different organs and bring back to the heart. Okay, so they don't need that a thick one elastic walls. Why? That blood is coming under low pressure only. Then there is valves is there to ensure that blood flow only in one direction. This artery is reaching to tissues and organs. This artery is divided into smaller and smaller vessels. That smaller vessels is how much thick? Means that is the thick of a 1 cell thick only. That vessels are called a capillaries. So exchange of materials between the blood and surrounding cells takes place through this capillaries only. Okay, so the capillaries then join to form veins that convey the blood away from the organ or tissue. Next is maintenance by platelet cells. What happens if the system of tubes develops a leak? If any leak or something happens in the these vessels, what will happen? This blood will ooze out and going. So this blood having a special type of cells that is called platelet cells. They have the capacity to clot the blood, so blood will not ooze out. Next we are discussing about lymph. Lymph also a type of fluid, and it's also helping for transportation, and this otherwise known as tissue fluid. And this lymph having so many pores are there. So through this pores, plasma, proteins, blood cells, these are escaping and filling in the intercellular spaces, then forming tissue fluid. And it is similar to plasma, but it is colorless and it contains less protein also. Okay, so these limbs are joined together to form large limbs. These large limbs are open to that veins. As a function of lymph carrying digested and absorbed fat from the intestine, extra water from the cell is given back to the blood also.